good morning. You're watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Abalde. We are back again on another platform, you know, of this morning. How are you doing? And I hope you're doing fine. And thank you very much for always following this program wherever you are. And to our viewers that contribute on our social media handles, the likes of Banki in Madrid. And of course, we also have Musa Mane. He also contributes from Italy. We're saying thank you very much for always following this program. And I am with Julde Njai. Good morning, Julde. How are you?
Good morning, Ibrahim. I am fine, and good morning to our viewers from wherever you're watching us from. It's always good to be back.
Yeah, so we apologize for starting, 11 minutes on top of the hour 9. And we have Aliou Cisse as our newspaper review guest. Later, Keksane will be joining us as well. Aliou, how are you?
Not bad, doing well. Thank you so much.
It's good to share the platform with you again. You know, it's sort of a win-win situation for us on this platform because we got to learn a lot as a senior journalist that goes out and current on certain affairs. You know, yesterday I've watched your program where you interviewed the basic education minister. We've seen all that. A very interesting conversation yesterday.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim Abande. Thank you so much, Julde. It's a pleasure to be back on this morning program. And like you said, we're looking forward to having a fruitful discussion as far as what is happening in this country is concerned. But like you said, great discussion we had with the basic and secondary education minister yesterday. But that's why we are here. We want to keep the conversation going on.
Right.
Exactly, keeping the conversation going on. And like I said, later we will be talking to Keksane on the program as well. He'll be joining us later, at least to see an insight as to what is happening, especially in the courts. As you know, Keksane, it's mostly focused on courts reporting, breaking down court hearings so that people can understand as to what is going on, because these are very sensitive cases, and to report them you need to get that expertise and that technical know-how to be able to report on court matters, but the way he does it is definitely extraordinary.
You really need to understand the language. You
really need to understand the terms, So Julde, let's start with the proverb before we also Keksane in.
Okay.
Do you have the proverb with you?
Not yet.
with you already. Can you please project the proverb on the screen for us, our able producer? That's the proverb there on the screen, Julde.
The quizzer hangs from the trap, and the trap hangs on the shoulder. What does that mean? Such a tough proverb.
I have no idea.
The quiver hangs from the trap, and the trap hangs on the shoulder.
What does that even mean, Balde?
Okay, we need to know what a quiver is first to understand how it's hanging on the trap, and the trap is hanging on the shoulder. I think the quiver, it has to do with a prey. You understand? Sort of an animal that is hanging on a trap. You understand? When the hunter is going back home, he hung the trap on his shoulder. So the quiver, it's also hanging on the trap. So this means it's a great day when you see that kind of situation. Yes. I think that's my understanding. I don't know, Aliou.
It's a tricky one.
I have no idea.
It's a tricky one. It's really a tricky one. Keks, what do you make of the proverb? It's really a tricky one.
Exactly.
It is.
It seems to be a Ghanaian proverb. It must be from Ghana or Nigeria, because they deal with traps, they deal with quivers, they deal with all those. It's Mali. Someone said it's from Mali. But let's move on.
Yes,
Keksane, it's good to have you here on the platform, sharing it with us. Thank you very much. Despite the short notice, you are able to make it on this platform. Yeah, so what's happening, in your world? Let's say the court. What's happening at the courts?
Interesting. Courts went for a vacation and now they are back, after that Easter break, to at least continue with the cases that actually they are following up. And so far, we have started hearing cases, that is the alleged armed robbery attack that happens in United Vegetable Oil in Denton Bridge, and also the Al Hela shop, and also the FIBA, the bank that was attacked. So
Access.
this Access Bank. So the three individuals that are allegedly to have committed the crime are before the court, Justice Cham, to hear their fate or the allegation that is leveled against them by the state. But it was separated in different cases. The state decided to bring the case as they unfold.
Right.
So the first one that will happen, that was the New Year Eve at Denton Bridge, is the one that we are hearing for now. So far, the state has brought 2 witnesses that are testifying to give evidence of how the thing transpired, because they were the direct victims. They were the ones who were attacked, tied up, and because they were the securities at the ground at that night. So they are the ones who were attacked by these 3 guys, according to their testimony, with cutlasses, and they tied them, and they went and actually take the almost $400,000 from the factory. Then they disappear from the scene, leaving the watchman on the tied until the people came and untied him. So they give their testimony of actually what transpired, and they were cross-examined by the defense counsel, Lamin J. Dabo, Lamin E. Sane, and Alewu Jallo, who were defending the 3 alleged accused persons. So far, this is what is going on, and also other cases that are murder cases that are happening before Justice Ibrahim Jaide, and the health officials that were alleged to have embezzled the funds of the COVID-19 during the difficult moment. Government went into extra to provide relief for the families that are affected by purchasing bag of rice, onions, oils, to be distributed to vulnerable families that cannot afford. So there's an allegation that 3 or 4 officials were involved in terms of actually embezzling the funds by not delivering the amount that should be actually given to them. So these were some of the issues before the courts, and we are keenly following them to make sure that the public know what transpired in our courts. Yep, so.
Interesting.
Right.
Well, we can still proceed with the newspapers.
That we have,
I'm
yeah.
seeing a very, very...
Point, Foroya, and the Standard. Let us start with the Foroya newspaper, because their main headline reads, Lawmaker seeks inquiry into sale of Jammeh's assets. Very interesting. It has making the rounds since last week. We have seen citizens from all walks of life coming on board, and then, having their opinions as to what the report is all about. But what is clear is that there seems to be consensus as far as the report is concerned, from either in ruling, those in government, those in opposition, and civil society, even the media. We have seen that there is some level of consensus as far as the report is concerned. I will start with Ali.
Yeah, for me, I will start by, first and foremost, commending our colleague,
Right.
Mr. Fake Dabo of
Right.
Republic, for that brilliant masterpiece. That was a top-notch investigative piece, well-researched, with facts. And we have to commend Mustafa for coming up with this report. This is not the first time that Mustafa is publishing reports regarding Jammeh's assets, and the fact that it has attracted the public interest shows that the story is having an impact, to the extent that even National Assembly members are now coming out, asking for the full list of the buyers to be known. It's quite commendable. But my only problem is, I just hope, people wouldn't just try to politicize this whole event just to score political points. Because one will be asking, why are the MPs coming out now claiming that, they want to see this? Because this is something that people have been asking for as long as, the first report on these assets, was published by Mustafa. Then he was with Malagan. So, I just hope, whatever they do is going to be in the interest of the country, and not just to score political points as many will.
Right, because the fact that he, the current Minister of Justice, went to the Parliament sometime in 2023, and he was asked by the NAM for Foni Kansala about who are the buyers of Jammeh's assets. But he declined to answer, to reveal the buyers of their assets. That would in itself shows that there is something really fishy going on as far as that was concerned. But I like the fact that you mentioned that it should not be politicized, because this is something that affects every individual, whether directly or indirectly. And I think accountability should really be taken seriously. As
You know,
far
for me,
as
this is no more just about Jammeh's asset. These are assets of the country.
Right.
This is about us. Yes, Jammeh's name is there, but all these things belong to the country.
Absolutely.
So whatever they do, I mean, it should be transparent. And for me, if you come to the National Assembly and you are telling us, okay, publishing this list will mean that we are infringing on their privacy. I mean, then that shows that, I mean, these are wealth. I mean,
well, you know, buying the assets.
If everything is transparent, why should you be worried about it?
Yeah.
Buying the assets and publishing the buyers is one thing. But for me, the thing for me is, why was it done in secrecy? That is the main thing for me. Why was it not public?
Well, according to their release that they issued yesterday, was it yesterday? Yeah. They claimed that it was done through a bidding process. It was publicized. But again, let's hear Kek's side of the...
Yeah, interesting. Seeing like National Assembly members taking their responsibility, which they failed to do. For me, I feel like they have already failed until when there was a public outcry.
Exactly.
And that is the time they are reacting, rather than taking their responsibility, because their core mandate is to make sure that the whole government accountable to the people. And there is nothing more accountable than the assets of the country that have been sold, and there are rumors in regards to how it is sold. For the National Assembly member, they have the power to establish any committee to investigate issues that are affecting our country and citizens. And the law is very clear when you go to Chapter 1. The responsibility of the government is to make sure that whatever they are doing, they drive their authority from the people of the Gambia. And whatever they are doing, they have to do that in the interest of the Gambian people. And there is nothing that is more interesting than this issue that the Gambian people are so particular about. And the minister came before the National Assembly. I could remember I was there. And this issue was raised. Since that day, they should have known that they should have established this committee that they intend to establish in the future to make sure that they establish and call on any other party that is there, because they have the power to summon. They have the powers of the High Court when they sit in the committees to summon anybody, to summon any witness, to request for any document to come before them. So that power is there, enshrined by the Constitution. Why? Because they know that they are the ones who are representatives. All of us cannot go to the parliament. They said each constituency represents one person that will be your voice, that is speaking on behalf of you. So that means any National Assembly member from Tumana or Nyamina speak for the entire Tumana. So, and the people of the Gambia are demanding for this list. So it should not have waited. They could have done their job, but you know, never too late since they have started it, but they have failed in their responsibility since that initially, because the minister should not come there and tell them, I'm not giving you the list. Even the list that they give them, you know, they didn't even understand. It is a half information, and the majority of the informations are left, and they have received that document, and nobody blew the whistle to say that, no, you cannot mislead the National Assembly. We are the people's representative. Right. And anything that we demand must be there. But now that they are thinking in that direction, I think it is a good step.
I just want to know who benefits the most when keeping all this process in the dark?
I mean, it was really evident in the investigative piece that they serve as both the judge and the jury, and those that were selling were the same people who were actually benefiting through a third-party mechanism. So it goes to say that the system was really crazy at the time, and I'm not really sure if we can really come out of this anytime soon, because it is deeper than we thought, really, because the way I read this piece like 3 times, but I'm still trying to understand really how does this really happen. What were they thinking when they decided to really do these things? And the Jammeh Commission as well, I think that they had a role to play as far as the assets were concerned, but the whole process in itself was really crazily done.
Yeah, because I remember last year, April, I had the then Secretary to the Commission, Alain Mamadi Kurang, on one-to-one here on QTV. And from then, we all knew that all wasn't right. You know, he didn't left because he wanted to leave the Commission. He left because he was pushed out, because he was trying to challenge things that he thought weren't going right. According to him, he thought some people were already conflicted. Some people had already had an interest in these assets while the Commission was ongoing. And then when you listen to him, he's telling you most of these assets were sold at a giveaway price. So that tells you that, I mean, as huge as Jammeh's assets are, I mean, this just selling the assets at their word value. And
but you see, I think people are concentrating more on the scorpion and forgetting about the snake. You see, for me, I don't have, I mean, you want to sell, and I am interested to buy. You know, I don't think it's a problem for me to buy cakes. I mean, you want to sell.
Yeah.
And I bought it from you, so I don't think those who bought these properties they have problems. They don't have issues.
Our problem is not the buyers.
It's not the buyers. The buyers
for us, it's not the buyers.
But the way people are taking this, I mean, provide the list of the buyers. Provide the list of the buyers.
But
The buyers don't have any problem.
No. I have no issue with the buyers. The issue is we want to know who the buyers are. Give us the list. Let us know.
That is granted.
It's the process.
I have seen a list.
Involved.
I have seen a half list that is provided.
Absolutely.
Exactly. But it's not about the buyers because you are selling. I'm just a buyer.
I'm just a
So
buyer.
if you come and give me a giveaway price,
Yes.
I will buy.
Absolutely.
But it's about the process involved.
Absolutely.
It's the process involved in this whole thing.
Because even with the company that was involved, Alpha Capital, the report indicated that there is a bidder who actually was offered more price than even that of Alpha Capital, but they still went on to give the deal to Alpha Capital. That goes to show that, you know, the price at which it was sold, it's way below the market value. So that was the issue.
Because,
for instance, you cannot explain 153 tractors being sold for 13 million and 43 sold for 10 million. Like, there is a huge gap between 43 to 153. Let's just.
So, madam,
it doesn't add up. It doesn't add up.
That's how transparent it is, even in the issue, because we all know when public biddings or tenderings have been advertised, how it is happened. But in this case, I check on newspapers whether they were giving this information on radio station, because that's the whole essence, is for the public to know, so that there will be an equal opportunity for every citizen to go and bid if you are interested. But if you were in a way that you just create a website that you claim that, if you ask Gambians, you know, because according to them, they are doing the advertisement on a website that was created purposely for that. But how many of us know that there was a website that was established and where these informations were shared? Why not you go to the newspapers, you come to radio stations, you come to TV stations, you say that the government of the Gambia are going to have a public tendering of Jammeh's asset, and whoever is interested, they could have used QTV, they could have used almost entire Gambia watch this station. But if you go in a secret way just to say that I have done it, but you have done it in a way that people are who advertise that website to Gambian people, how many people do click on websites? So these are issues. There was no much transparency in it. The intention was there since at the initial stage that we have targeted people who wanted to buy these things, and those are our target. As far as those people get the information, the rest are not important. And that's question regarding about the transparency, because it has to be given.
You know, there are many irregularities when you read the report.
Absolutely.
I mean, the removal of Augustus from as well. I mean, you know, the appointment of Alpha Capital as well. So you can try to link that. Okay, probably they are politically affiliated or something. That's why these people, they got this deal. I mean, you tend to say that.
I wouldn't just assume that they are political motivated. But for me, the fact of the matter is that things are getting out of hand. For me, this is beyond anyone's imagination. And by now, I will have expect that the president will have come out and address the nation on this issue. Give us the assurance that, you know, you will leave no stone unturned, and so anyone who is found wanting is brought to book. By now, there should have been a national address by the president. You see, one thing we need to understand, in as much as the president, like he always said, that, you know, he wants to leave a good legacy, he wants to stay in this country after leaving, you know, the presidency. He also needs, yes, we all know he's a democratic leader. He's very lenient, he's very understanding. But because of that also, people, I mean, tend to take advantage that they can do whatever they want, because at the end of the day, nothing will come out of it. But he needs to understand that, you know, we have seen what happened when Jammeh left, when he had the Jammeh Commission. The same people who were in Jammeh's system were the same people who were reappearing in the Jammeh Commission testifying. And in as much as he wants to leave a good legacy, he shouldn't allow any action or inaction of any person, you know, to tarnish his image or, you know, destroy his legacy that he's trying to build after leaving the presidency. One thing I can tell you, the same people who are serving in this system, if another government comes, there will be the same people who will jump at that same government. So he is the leader, he is the president. Whatever happens, it will come back to him. It will come back to him. we are saying this not because we are against the president
we
or
are not.
whatsoever.
We
are
totally.
saying it because we want the best for him. We want the best for this country.
Right.
Yes, you might be working at the State House or you might be working in the government, but that doesn't mean, you love this country more than us. That doesn't mean, you love the president more than us. That doesn't mean you are more loyal to the president than us. Probably, in fact, some of us who are outside, in fact, love this government and the president more than who is there.
More than, yeah.
Absolutely.
Just that you are there because you are privileged
You got
to
the
benefit
privilege.
from it.
Absolutely.
And speaking
Okay.
of which, I think it's important. Look at now our recent press global press index. It has gone down, and now we are really expecting more for it to go further down because of the defamation, criminal defamation that the Minister of Tourism is really alleging that he's going to take Mustafa Dabo to court for criminal defamation and all of that. And even in terms of democracy.
He's the Minister of Lands.
Ministry of Lands now.
Minister of Lands.
Yeah, Ministry of Lands, Hamad Ba. And now even with the issue of democracy now, let us look at it now. How is it going to affect our democracy? Because I read yesterday that there are young people who want to organize a peaceful protest. But according to Mamadi Kurang's Facebook page, he is saying that they are yet to be given a permit to hold this peaceful protest.
But how is the minister going to do that? I mean, the thing is obvious. I mean, it's out there already.
Yeah, it's out there. That is his right to go to court. Yeah. And it is now up to Mustafa as the investigator in this case to go and prove his case before the courts. So that is his right. That is guaranteed in our laws. Justice here, that is guaranteed. If you feel aggrieved and you are not satisfied, you have the right to go to the courts. Yeah. But for me, my point is very clear, right? Whatever we are doing in this country, we need to be very careful.
Right.
The interest of this country shouldn't be compromised for the benefit of just few individuals who are all interested in just gathering wealth because by next few years they are gone. So they don't care what happens next. The president will come and go, but the country remains.
Absolutely.
So whatever you are doing, don't think, okay, you are doing this thing because, okay, you are doing to the president or you are doing... No, you are doing it to yourself.
Yeah.
You are doing it to yourself. And what we have seen happen to these assets, the process, like you said, we have no problem with the buyers. It's the process. Who was spearheading this process? The whole process, there are so many questions surrounding the process.
So let's take a look at the case of the judge, Amina. I mean, all her involvement was ignored. I mean, at some point, they didn't pay any attention to all that she was saying regarding, the Jammeh's assets as well. So all those things is telling you the irregularities in the system.
Yeah, absolutely. Amina has taken a bold step to make sure that the adherence of the law is respected, to make sure that things are done in a way, even though we all angry with Jammeh and whatever happens, but still now we have a law that is governing every process in this country, and she makes sure that the laws are adhered to, and she stood on her ground. Unfortunately, there was a backdoor that they decided to use to go and make sure that what Amina rejected be granted to them, and it was done in a manner and a way where they actually mislead, one could have said, or either mislead or use a very clandestine way, in terms of how they can grant this thing, and they went through Justice Jade. Unfortunately, he didn't, because I understand what most of the people didn't understand when we said an ex-party. What is an ex-party? Ex-party means only one party. Like, I give you my paper and I say that, okay, now hold me this document, but let's sign an agreement that you hold this document for me for a period of time. When I come, when I want it anytime, I'll come and request for it. So now the state come again and say that, okay, I now need my documents. So what I want, I just want you to cancel that agreement that we have and you hand over. That is the situation of this issue. This was freeze. It was the state who freezed this. They wanted to unfreeze it so that they can sell it. So they went. So there was no other party because Jammeh lawyer was not there. So there was only one party before Justice Jaite. And that person said that it's the state who actually filed before other people and said, we've freeze this one, but now we are in a vacation and you are the vacation judge, we need it. And vacation judges here matters that are urgency, matters that has to deal with fundamental rights, somebody's right in violate, and you cannot wait until the court resume again because there are requirements how long the person should be kept under custody and other things. So when they came with their ex-party is only one party. You go to the chambers, you hear the person, what is his brief, what are the affidavits, and so when they had them, they said, okay, there is a merit in this. This is the state, and it's the same person who is coming, and there's no opposition or like opposite side who is arguing that no, this should not be done. Hadn't been, you would have given the opportunity to that person. But you know, they didn't tell him that there was already similar one that was before Amina Sow, and it was rejected. So he have no idea about actually what happens. So you know, it should be granted.
Exactly.
Because if you refuse to do it, then people will see that you have an interest, because the law tells you what to do. So you cannot go contrary to what the law requires. But the person who was coming has an intention already, and you know that this guy is not aware of anything. Let me just go there and just like.
Alim Sise, we've also seen you've written a letter to the president, direct. I mean, a very long letter. I was going through it, but couldn't finish reading it. I know this prompted, you know, that action. Please take us through, because probably most people will not be able to go to your Facebook and read that.
Well, my reaction, which I posted on social media, is just to show you how all of us are shocked and disappointed. That the people that we entrusted, the people that we thought were really doing us well as a country, were indeed out there just to enrich themselves, going by the investigation which my colleague Mustafa did. We need to understand, like I said previously, it's not about Jammeh's asset. This is a national wealth. This is national asset. Yes, Jammeh was here. You know, he accumulated all this wealth in his name, but it is still here. And even whereas the government wants to sell off these assets, the process should have been open and transparent. Like let me just emphasize, we have no problem with the buyers, but equally is the process and the manner in which these assets were
sold. It would have prevented all this.
Absolutely.
Okay? It would have prevented all these things. And like I said, the president should come out and address the nation. This is a serious matter. I'm not trying to incite anything here, but it is only in a country like the Gambia that we have such a scandal and nothing happens.
And be silent about it.
Honestly, in other countries like Kenya, something will have been happening by now. But because Gambia is a peaceful country, people always want to follow the law and all those things. That's why you're seeing people going out asking for permit to go out and protest. But this is a serious matter.
It is.
And if the president allows this case to slide just like that, it won't tell well as far as his legacy in this country is
So
concerned.
what do you think, I mean, should be done by the president now? As far as, I mean, all these properties are sold and gone, what can they do? Apart from a press release?
To start with, like I said, come out, address the nation in the first place. When you are done the National Assembly, they can set up a committee. We have seen the majority leader, Bele Tungara, coming out saying, okay, they're going to set up a committee to investigate into this whole thing, which I hope they will do impartially, without politicizing everything, just to score political points. Let them do it in the interest of the country. Because for me, this is not the time to, say, this particular political party is the one whose members were involved in all those things. No. What we should look at now is the whole process and see who is found wanting. But if not, it's not going to tell well about this country. Most of these Jammeh's assets, to be honest with you, if due process was followed, man, there's a lot of money.
Yes, it is.
It's a lot of money.
It is.
Man, Jammeh's vehicle alone, if you want to sell it, these are legacy vehicles. But imagine telling you this was a car that Jammeh was driving. Tax wouldn't mind paying maybe $5 million just to get that car.
Just to get that, yeah.
This is the bed that Jammeh was lying on. You got to kind of like, I mean, if you got to kind of like, where are those animals that were there? Now when it's time for tourism, tourists will come to the country and they will cross over and go to Senegal, go to Fatala.
You don't see them anymore.
All those animals were kind of like.
You see, for me,
but when you come with anger, and you think everything is about Jammeh, you think everything about Jammeh is bad.
You see,
okay,
fine.
Look at the industry. Like Jammeh bring a musical set that will have promote our music industry. Like they keep on hiring private musical sets when they have national events. Artists want so long there. Jammeh came with this thing. Where is the musical set? As now the artists are, the music industry is demanding that we land this in Senegal. Who bought it? How? Why do you bought? There are certain things should not even be sold. those things could
Yeah.
have maintained here, to, at least help the country in terms of developing the country, because those are national assets that we needed them, the most before we go and hire them and other things, because other countries you go there, the Ministry of Tourism and Culture provide all these things so that the artists at least give them that opportunity to promote their talent or to showcase their talents. But now when we have all those things, they are gone. So for me, the issue is about the government. Like the moment you keep information, you create the room of speculation and rumors.
Okay.
And that's what happens
So
precisely.
we are going to move very soon, but from a colleague journalist, the Minister of Justice has revealed that total assets belonging to former President Yahya Jammeh had been sold at more than $1.2 billion. The minister was briefing the National Assembly members in response to a question on the total sale of former President Jammeh's assets. And the money that generated from the sale of assets was meant to be given as reparation to victims, and the money is not enough to pay the victim because it's that big.
Right.
Yes,
I mean, that was the whole purpose. At least
And
that
it's
is what they told us
from
that.
our colleague Momodu Lamin Choi.
Yeah. I mean, that was the purpose. At least that is what they told us, that all the monies that are generated from the sales of the Jammeh's assets is going direct to victims' reparations. And the total assets that were sold amounted to $1.2 billion. According to the Justice Minister. I mean, that is not enough. I mean, we know that what has happened here during the 22-year rule of former President Yahya Jammeh, atrocities and all that, you can't compensate someone with monetary funds, but at least it will go a long way towards helping them, especially those that need medical attention.
Absolutely.
But now that this has happened this way, for me, my only concern is that we need to move on as a country. Jammeh was here, and, there were a lot of allegations, human rights violations, financial embezzlement, and two commissions were done, the Jammeh Commission and the TRRC Commission of Inquiry. And even with that, after the commission, monies were now embezzled. How are we moving on as a country?
And that's the problem now, Julia.
Yeah.
We had the Jammeh Commission.
Yeah.
They did their findings.
Yeah.
They came out with their recommendations. How many of those recommendations are implemented? You can count them.
Yeah.
You got a TRC. There was a commission. We knew what happened.
Yeah.
We got all these things. Gambians now understand what happened during Jammeh's era.
Right.
What they expect now is for someone to come out and say, these are the Jammeh's assets, and this is how we are going to sell them off. So imagine, I mean, after going all through that, and now you're getting to hear, okay, on the whole, Jammeh is just a reflection of who we are.
Okay, so now what we
So on the whole, some people are not even better than Jammeh.
Probably
Jammeh.
there will be a speech by the president later. So we
He
have
needs to.
We are
Definitely he needs to,
optimistic.
because he's silent.
Yes.
His silent will just perhaps tell us, okay,
Yes,
maybe he's part of it.
Yeah,
Maybe he accept it.
let's move on. Tobaski is in a month time, and we are looking forward to the great day and the sale of ram again. They're saying they're going to sell ram in an exorbitant price. So year in, year out, people talk about ram sales when Tobaski is approaching. How are we going to make sure as a country at least 75% of the ram that we buy for Tobaski are reared in this country?
First, to start with, is to ensure that, Gambians who are, engaged in animal rearing are supported by the government.
Right.
Second, let's work on our depreciating dollars. The way the dollars is depreciating to
Dallas is
CFA,
dying, very serious.
the way the dollars is depreciating to CFA is worrying. And guess what? Most of these rams are coming from Senegal. So imagine you as a dealer, you go to Senegal and then buy your rams at that rate in CFA. If you come back here, I mean, you are doing this for profit.
Absolutely.
You are doing this for profit. So
Yeah.
obviously, we expect it to go high.
Yeah.
Imagine now if you want CFA, how much will it cost you dollars just to get the CFA? It's a lot of money.
A lot of dollars.
A lot of dollars. So imagine you go to Senegal, you buy the rams, you come back here, and you want to make profit. Someone like Bande and money.
It's crazy. You have to put a lot of money. I mean, to
Exactly.
I mean, it's crazy, Ali.
We just keep our institution and they die. But if you look at the history of ITC, Gambia was even importing Andama cattle and other animals outside the Gambia, to sell them, because by then, when NTC was NTC, we were producing much this type of animals, And I think government need to invest in this thing, because we have nothing that can help the country to grow until we start to sell outside, not to just only go and buy outside. There must be an exchange where people will come in and buy. And agriculture is the backbone of this country, and we must invest hugely in agriculture. I see so many projects that we are coming in terms of small ruminants projects and other things, but for far too long, you know, we have not actually concentrated on this sector. And every year on, we keep on bringing thousands of rams in this country. So this is the issue in this country. And I think the Ministry of Agriculture need to invest more into this thing, because these are our daily needs. We need them every year in, year out. We keep on this. But today, if you go to Abuko now you count how many heads of rams are there. But wait until after the Tobaski, the entire everything, the streets are full. Where are they coming from? They are coming from outside. So you know that we need this thing. How do you do to create those things for yourself? Like your basic needs should be provided by the state. How do you do that? Empower the people, like Aliu said, that are into these areas. But you go to our Nyaminas, there are thousands of people that are having cattle. But how do the governments, no, those people are millionaires, but they are the most poorest people, because, you know, the government didn't support them to know the value that is in their animals. You know, they could have invested in those type of people, take all those milks that they are milking and make sure that we create yogurts and other things, you know, export them and have foreign exchange. So you will make those people, you know, their living conditions.
And you know, when you look at other countries that are rearing these ruminants, you can see, in fact, our land is more fertile and more friendly for these animals. You know, and we have very good and you know, we have water, enough water. So most of these people, they live in the desert. When you look at Mali, you know, all this Fulani that comes with their, ruminants here for Tobaski, they struggle a lot to get water in that desert. So why not here? Why not we just empower ourselves and start doing it?
Yeah, but I remember, was it last year or 2 years ago, we had this Women Breeders Association that went to meet the president. And one of their key appeals was the issue of animal feed, that it is expensive. That it is expensive, and they will want the government to support them. And according to them, you know, the president told them that, you know, he was going to engage the Minister of Agriculture, who was, I think, Ami Fabre at the time, you know, to work with them to see how best, you know, the government, you know, will support them in terms of animal feed. But like you said, I mean, we need to empower these local animal breeders in this country to be able to, you know, produce our own rams, rather than just waiting for rams to come from Senegal.
Definitely, because this year, I mean, ram is going up to 25,000, 30,000. Aliu. So look
at the economy.
Man, this year,
What happened is very easy, Bande.
This year, I am slaughtering
Bande. It's very easy. Lee, but Hamal Bobi Atan.
Wow. Absolutely.
This year, this year, I'm slaughtering goats. So
no, why you have that?
Man, I don't know.
I'm not here. Don't worry.
Aliu don't talk.
No, Bande. Don't worry. I'm not chairman. We know.
All right, on a very interesting headline, you know how much interesting or sad, like Gambia mourns passing of widow of legendary Kora Mistro.
Yeah.
That would be Lalo Keba, and it could be Kurambisa, probably, because I'm seeing the picture of Kura on the front newspaper of the Point, on the front story of the Point newspaper. Well, this is news to me. I'm just hearing it. I'm just seeing it now.
For me, he remains one of my biggest Kora stars.
Absolutely.
And of course, Kurambisa, I think that's one song where I said
Kurambisa. Yes, Yamatere
Nelaw. That song is just superb. And we pray that Allah grant her soul Jannah.
Wow, that's sad. Yeah, so Julde?
VP Jallo launches $2 million aid project, urges transparency.
It's interesting. They are launching more and more projects. Transparency, sustainability. I mean, ensuring that these projects, directly, have an impact on people that matters. Right. It's important that government is coming up with so many projects, but if the projects are not having that positive impact on the people, is same as not having the projects. And like you said, the issue of transparency is important. Whatever they are doing with these projects, it should be something that is transparent and have an impact on the people.
Right.
But unfortunately, what we have seen in the past, most of these projects, when they come, most of it goes into logistics, buying new cars, endless tracks, and all those things, and then only little will go to the beneficiaries. Yeah. And because of that, after when the project's phased out, you go back there, you begin to wonder, where is the project?
Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah. So you don't see anything that will say, okay, we once had this project, because it's more like once it's phased out, that's the end of it. And I hope these are things that we should work on. So even when projects phased out, you can go back 10 years later and you feel the impact that there was this project that was implemented in this community.
So, Kex, what do you think needs to be done as a country? Because Aliu mentioned that, right, we are a country and we are very good when it comes to coming up with laws, legislation, projects. But again, the implementation phase of it is always a problem, and even the sustainability part of it. I think it's one of the biggest challenge we are really encountering as a country. What do you think needs to be done to ensure that, right, we have projects, very good legislation, but again, the implementation bit is taken seriously?
Absolutely, that's the most important. Like many people say, we are very good in terms of drafting documents, ideas. No, these ideas are there. We didn't lack laws in terms of, but how do we implement them? These are the issues, even regarding about this whole issue that we are talking about. Hadn't been that we adhere to the law, that is the lay down rules and regulations that govern the country, because a country without following the law is just like a jungle where everybody can do whatever you feel like doing. And I think we didn't lack those laws. Any department that you create, any government institution, you will have these laws, you will have legislation that will be passed by parliament, and acts are there that shows you how the internal governance system. You have the model constitution that will tell you what are the ways that you should be done. You go to our project, you will see a very beautiful design, the ideas, the concept is perfect. When they put it on the table, you think that the next, when this project start launching, we are going to at least enjoy the entire, it's going to benefit the entire nation. But at the end of the day, after the end of the project, you find out that it's an issue. You look at even the Jakarta Pachar, we look at, how many money has been invested in that sector for us to produce the rice that we need, how many from GCAF, NEMA, you could millions of dollars. But if you go to Jakale Pacha today, you stand, where's the impact, where's the rice that we are producing? Still now we are importing nothing less than 3 billion worth of rice into this country, when we could have created that land, rice for ourselves. And that was the whole idea why we came with all those projects. It doesn't come out. So projects are there. It comes, like Aliu said, it's more into vehicles and other things. I could remember there's this seed program that we are actually investigating. And now in regards to actually what happened, so we found out that, at the initial stage, when the project started, first initial stage, what they did, there were vehicles that were available. Vehicles are costing $3.6 million. They went and buy each vehicle for $7 million. Almost another $3.5 million was adjusted to this thing. And the matter is now before the fraud squad for investigation. So you could see that before the...
Is it the World Bank project?
That is SWEED. You will see vehicles that are going on. It's called Sahel Women's Empowerment Project. So you could see all those things. So like 14 vehicles were purchased, but you find out that the manner and the way those vehicles were purchased, how they even double the price, 3.5, you go and bring a budget of $7 million, and each car is, so now the state lose almost $45 million out of the project for now, and the donors have to call on the government, the auditors, to go and do an audit. They did a special audit, they found nepotism there, they found favorism there, because the person who was awarded the contract was never a car dealer in the first place. When we have TK Motors, we have Safer, or who are lancing to provide this vehicle. So you could see that there are so many issues that are happening in this country, because like Aliu said, before you start the project, you think of buying vehicles, logistics, workshop at the owner. So the money that go directly to the project itself is not there. At the end of the day, it phased out. You go there, you didn't see anything. So many of these things. You go to Sapo now, how many projects were in Sapo? So these are some of the issues I think government need to take a step. And also that's why we have separation of power. And people who have separation of power should hold government accountable, because government will come with their project, but that's why you have another separate organ that will make sure that those projects, that's why you have the National Assembly Committee that said that monitor government projects. They call them a committee on government projects. And
how effective are they?
But how effective are, how much do they go and look at government projects that are happening in this country? What are happening there? Where is the money? Sometimes you report back to the public. You come in and tell us that, so that we know what is happening, because we are the owners.
If we know what comes out of it, for instance, the reports of the National Audit Office.
Absolutely.
They did a lot of reports which reveal some very, very serious things.
Absolutely.
But again, nothing comes out of it. Nothing really happens.
And National Assembly has the power, to prosecute, to recommend for prosecution.
Sure.
But we barely find out that, look at when the petroleum issue that is before the National Assembly, that millions of, it came here and sell all the petroleum and go without even paying a single budu to the government of the Gambia. And, no head is rolling, nobody is prosecuted. So you look at all those things, COVID-19 funds, there was a committee that was established. Who was prosecuted? So these are issues that are...
There was recommendation for certain individuals to go on administrative leave.
Even
those people are still going to work.
Leave. Even the GT board petition before the National Assembly, the recommendation is out now. TD areas were sold to people who doesn't, but who goes? Nobody. People are implicated. National Assembly recommendation is there. And that's where when National Assembly make recommendation for fraud, and the police should pick up and make sure that they investigate the matter and prosecute somebody. Yes. But nobody is speaking from where the National Assembly stops. So it just hold dust there.
So there is a disconnect in the system. Like there is nothing like.
Absolutely. So we've seen another story here. I believe that's going to be the last story. Okay. Inmate appeals for presidential pardon. I mean, he must be one of the graduates from Insight training at the prison. So he is appealing for presidential pardon.
Just this morning, before I come on the program, I was discussing with my colleague and brother Eso. About some of these inmates who have been at Mile 2 for a while, and they have acquired skills, and they didn't commit that major crimes.
And they have now positive behavior.
Yeah, they have a positive behavior. In fact, Eso is going to the trade fair today. I think some of them are at the trade fair doing some stuff.
Yeah.
He's going to do a story on it, and I think these are positive stories. No one's immune to prison, but it doesn't mean that anyone who goes to prison is a bad person.
It's a bad person. Sometimes
some people are just destined to go to prison, but it doesn't mean they are bad people.
We've seen people who are victims of circumstances.
And some of them, it's a blessing in disguise, going to prison.
Imagine,
because when you come out
going
as a
to
much
prison
better person.
and acquiring at least a diploma.
Yeah, and you come out as a much better person because you learn a lot
reflected
in prison. Exactly. So for me, if these are, some of them, have acquired skills now and they are now changed people, why not?
Absolutely, it's important.
Absolutely.
We should really look at it. If people can
I don't mean people who commit major crimes like murder, no. But at least, these petty crimes.
Absolutely, it's a correction.
But if people can commit economic crimes in this country and go scot-free,
absolutely.
Why not pardon people?
Definitely. I think it's something that at least that will also help in decongesting the Mile 2. And having them go back to their families and become better people. They can even serve as ambassadors, for people out there.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So thank you very much, Kex. Thank you, Aliou Cisse. At least it was a very cool interaction. We've given our viewers something to think about. Now it's left to our viewers to judge. It's left to them to send their comments. And, we hope to do this again in the future.
Thank you so much, Bande. And I again repeat, whatever we say here, we say it out of care, out of respect, out of wanting the best for the man and the country.
Absolutely.
We are not here to just praise and say things that will please your ears, because we don't work in government or close to the corridor of power. But what we are saying here is in the interest of the country and your own legacy.
True.
Things we are telling you, certainly not many people close to you will tell you these things because they want to protect their positions. They don't want to say anything that will be displeased to you.
And we are outside. We see what's happening.
Please, Your Excellency, watch. You are the one in charge. Not everyone close to you means well to you. Some people are there just for their selfish interest.
And there is an ending for everything.
Please. You are doing well in terms of road infrastructure and all those things.
Democracy.
Do not allow few individuals to destroy your
legacy. Thank you very much, Aliou Cisse. Thank you, Juliet. Thank you, Kex.
Thank you.
Yeah, so viewers, we'll be back here tomorrow again for another edition of QTV This Morning. Do enjoy the rest of our programs. Bye.